Sharon Munro was a leading author of romance novels. She had 7 on the top seller list and has sold over 1 million copies of her works. She is self-confident and can be overbearing at times. She went to get a soda out of the refrigerator when she passed Robert's computer room. He was on his computer and she knew he was probably playing games as usual. She wished he would get into something else instead of just sitting all day doing nothing. She was working on her latest novel when Rosa, her maid, came in and asked to speak with her. She quit her typing on her computer and sat back. "I have some bad news for you. I have to go home to help take care of my mother. She is very sick and my father doesn't know what to do. He called me last night and asked me to come home for a few weeks to help him get things settled and show him how to do some things. I will be gone probably 3 weeks. I told him I wasn't sure when I would be home." "I see. Can you think of anyone to fill in for you while you are gone? It took me forever to find someone before I found you. I can't wait that long again. I can't think of anyone. Everyone I know is working somewhere. I can't think of a single person to fill in. I have an idea. Do you think you could show my husband how to do everything before you left? You know, just the finer points of keeping the house looking respectable." "Sure, that would be no problem. Let's go see him right now and get things started." They both went to where he was on his computer. He looked up in surprise to see both of them. "We have a slight problem. Rosa has to go home to help her father. Her mother is very sick and she has to help him get things under control. It will be for probably 3 weeks that she will be gone. I thought that you could keep the house clean while she is gone. She will show you the easiest way to do it." "What? Do I look like a maid? There is no way I am going to do housework." Both women were crestfallen, but Sharon rebounded fast, saying, "It's only for about 3 weeks. You need to do something besides play on your computer all day. It probably will only take about a couple of hours a day for you to cover the main rooms. You don't have to do the whole house." "What part of what I said didn't you understand?" "I told you. I don't look like a maid." The women left and went back to Sharon's computer room. Sharon said, "I never thought he would react like that. Are you sure there is no one you can think of to help me out?" "No. I thought about that last night after my father called and I can't think of anyone." "Wait. I just got a thought. My husband did say he didn't look like a maid, didn't he?" "Yes, that's what he said." "What do you have in mind? If we got him some maid's outfits, do you think you could get one on him?" "I think I could, or I will, or break an arm trying. I used to wrestle my older brother and I won a lot of times. I'll write his sizes down and a list of things for you to get for him. Can you go right away so we have them in the morning?" Rosa agreed and a list was quickly made up and the sizes needed added to it. Sharon told her what she wanted her to get. Rosa looked at the list and said, "You can be mean when you want to, can't you? He made me mad when he wouldn't even consider what we were asking. Now he can pay for it." Rosa left and Sharon sat and thought about how surprised she was that Robert wouldn't even consider helping out. She steamed a bit, then decided she couldn't write in the frame of mind she was in right now. She went to get a glass of chocolate milk. She went and settled into the recliner and sat back to relax. She must have dozed off because the next thing she knew, Rosa was waking her. Rosa gave her over $40 back from the money she had given her to go shopping. Rosa told her that everything was in the spare bedroom, all put away. They agreed that tomorrow morning Robert would become a changed man. Rosa giggled as she anticipated the resistance that Robert would give her. Sharon told Rosa that she hoped Rosa could get him into the clothes, and Rosa assured her that she could. Rosa told her she was stronger than she looked and she knew a couple of tricks that would make him agree to wear the clothes. Sharon was still angry when she was getting ready for bed. She asked Robert one more time if he would reconsider, and he declined to help. He could tell she was angry that he wouldn't do the housework, but he thought she would get over it soon. The next morning he could tell she was still upset, but he wasn't about to give in. She didn't speak a word at breakfast and afterward went straight to their bedroom to get dressed for the day. When he saw her next, he saw she was wearing denim jeans and a plain red shirt. Her hair was in a bun, a style he didn't like because it didn't show off her beautiful hair. He saw Rosa arrive and go straight to Sharon's computer room. He left the dishes for Rosa to clean up and went to his computer. He booted it up and started a game. He was well into the game when Sharon and Rosa came in. This is your last chance to agree on your own to take over when Rosa has to leave. Will you please do it? I know you feel it is putting you out, but do it for me. I thought I made it clear yesterday. I haven't changed my mind. Cleaning isn't my bag of tea. Well, Rosa, you know what you have to do. You can start in this room. Get rid of the excess baggage here. Sharon walked out and Rosa went by Robert. Her hand grabbed his wrist and twisted it to the point where he fell on the floor. She grabbed his wrist again and soon had his arm twisted behind his back. She raised him to a standing position without letting go. She forced him to go to the spare bedroom. In the spare bedroom, she opened the door to the closet and showed him the pretty uniforms hanging there. He saw 3 black maid's uniforms with short skirts and a light lavender one hanging there. Now, are you going to put on a pretty uniform or do I have to twist your arm out of its socket? I can and will if you don't agree. I am not going to put one of those on. Get it through your head, I am not going to do your job while you are gone. Rosa twisted harder and he yelped but didn't budge. She made him go toward the corner where she had placed a hardwood stick a half-inch thick. She grabbed the stick and started to hit his buttocks as best she could. She couldn't get the force she wanted, so she edged him toward the bed and soon was sitting with him over her lap. She hit him harder and quickly he was starting to cry. He cried out for her to stop, but she didn't. I'll stop when you agree to wear the pretty uniforms and do Rosa's job until she returns. When you agree to be the maid your wife wants, I'll let you up. Finally he agreed, but Rosa wasn't done. Are you going to wear the uniforms and do the best job you can and do whatever Madam says, or do I have to keep on spanking you? I'll do it. Just stop. She let him up and told him to undress. She took some tissue and wiped his eyes gently. He undressed to his undershorts and she told him to get them off also. He was embarrassed when he took them off. She carefully glued gel-filled breast forms on his chest. Then she slid the corset up his body and started to tighten the laces. He never thought she was that strong as he tightened the laces tighter and tighter. He could hardly breathe. When she was satisfied that she couldn't get the laces any tighter, she tied them off. He didn't see her put some powder in before she slid the heavy black stockings up his legs and fastened them to the garters on the corset. Then came the panties. They were black with rows of white lace all around. She told him she didn't have any that fancy and noticed he was blushing. She saw he was getting hard, then pulled the panties back down and proceeded to put a chastity belt on him. When she had his penis pointed to the back between his legs and locked into position, she then pulled the panties back up, telling him it wouldn't look good if he was tenting the skirt of his pretty uniform. Next came the fluffy multi-layered petticoat. Then the uniform. She saw his shoulders sag as she buttoned up the uniform back. She knew he had just given in and smiled. When she placed a hair ribbon in his hair, as his hair was on the long side, and she was surprised at how feminine he had become. Lastly, she put the 5-inch black stiletto heels that Sharon had on the list on his feet. He heard the click when she fastened them but didn't think anything of it. She had him stand and he almost fell when he stood. She helped him by taking his arm to learn to walk in the heels. She led him around the room until she let go and he walked slowly on his own. She was ready to start her chores and told him to meet her in the kitchen when he was ready to start learning her job. She left and he walked a little bit more and then decided to go by Sharon and find out what was going on. He walked in by Sharon and asked, "What is this all about? Look at what Rosa did to me. Tell her to get this stuff off and let me get back into my clothes. Those are your clothes for the foreseeable future, at least until Rosa comes back. I asked you 3 times to help us out and you refused. You said you didn't look like a maid, well now you do. You will learn from her what cleaning this house is all about. Before you could have just done the highlights, but now you can clean the whole house and do everything Rosa does. If you do a good job you will be rewarded, if you do a bad job you will be punished in ways you don't want to find out. Do you read me?" "Yes, Sharon, I do. I'll try to do my best. You better go find Rosa so you can start learning right away." He left and went to find Rosa. He found her in the dining area cleaning the table with furniture polish. She told him it was something to do every day. She finished and showed him where all the cleaning stuff was kept. She had him go to do the carpeting in the living room. He was shocked at how his breasts kept getting in the way. He wished and hoped Sharon would get over this soon and let him back into his regular clothes. He finished and when he was putting the vacuum away he saw Sharon talking to Rosa. Sharon left and Rosa told him to come with her. She led him to her car and he told her he couldn't go out like this and she told him he was going or else. He got into her car. He realized how good it felt to be able to sit. She drove and 10 minutes later parked in front of the Ultimate Woman beauty parlor. She led him inside and talked to Madge, the owner. Madge told Rosa she had talked to Sharon and was all ready for him. She had him go to the sink to shampoo his hair. Then it was to her chair where she started to trim his hair a bit. Soon she was putting curlers in his hair and rolling them tight. She had rolled parts of his hair and had put some foil on it. Then she put some dye onto his hair. Then it was under the hair dryer. While he was under the dryer and girl came and had him put his fingers out. She had him soak them for a bit then started to give him a manicure. His jaw dropped when she started to glue long false fingernails on him. He didn't protest as she painted them a bright metallic red. When she was done his nails shone like little lights, each giving off a bright red shine. The dryer hood was raised and he was back in Madge's chair. She started on his eyebrows and he let out a yelp as she plucked the first ones. When she was done he had the thinnest eyebrows possible. Then she worked on his eyes. It seemed to take forever but eventually she was done. She worked some foundation on the rest of his face then added some blush to his cheeks. Then it was outlining his lips and filling them in with red lip color. She used a brush to fill them in. When she was done his lips looked like he had wet red paint on them. Then he flinched as she pierced his ear each in 3 places and inserted studs in them. Finally she started to take the rollers out. He was glad as they were too tight for him to stand much longer. She started to shape his hair. When she was done with him she turned him toward the mirror to see what he looked like. It wasn't him he saw in the mirror. It was some woman he didn't recognize. Madge saw him sag into the chair as he realized it was him that he was looking at. She turned him around and he saw Rosa waiting for him. He got out of the chair and Madge told him the makeup was guaranteed to last at least a month and if it didn't to come back and they would do it for free. On the way home he looked at his face in the mirror on the visor. Rosa smiled when she thought it was just like a woman. She knew he was totally defeated and would do what she said. They got home and Rosa told him to go present himself to his wife. He didn't want to but did as she said. Sharon was happy over his new look, especially his blonde hair with the darker streaks in it. She told him this all could have been avoided if he would have agreed to do the housework in the first place. She told him now he would have to wear the uniforms until Rosa got back and was into the job full speed. "I'll do the job. Can't you let me wear my regular clothes?" "I promise I'll do it." "No, I gave you 3 chances to do it wearing your regular clothes and you refused every time. Now, you are in what are your regular clothes, so you will just have to live with it. Next time maybe you will agree before it comes to this. Now, we can't call you Robert when you are a maid, can we? What name would you like to be called? This is getting ridiculous. I am a man and men don't dress like this or take women's names. Your attitude needs to be adjusted. You don't understand yet that I mean business, so I'll pick a name for you. How does Raquella sound to you? We can always call you Ella for short. You don't understand me. Aren't you listening to what I am saying? I am listening, and all I hear is that you need to adjust your attitude. The faster you adjust, the better it will be for you and everyone concerned. Now, you better start thinking of where you are at and how you are dressed and why. Now, get back to Rosa. She has a lot to show you before she leaves, Raquella." He left her presence and went to find Rosa. Rosa showed him how to make a bed properly. Then she messed it up and had him do it. He did a fair job, but she told him how it could be better. Then she had him clean and dust the entire bedroom. The long fingernails didn't help when it came to dusting. He finished and Rosa told him he did an excellent job. He felt a sense of pride when she told him that. Then she took him and showed him how to use the slow cooker to make supper. He picked that up fast. She told him he could make tomorrow night's supper. She told him to think of something Sharon liked that he could make. Then she had him clean the electric range in the kitchen. When he was done, she invited him to have a break with her. They sat at the table. "You know you really made the missus mad when you refused to even consider cleaning. I like you and I want to give you some advice. I am sure you already learned from what happened. When your wife asked me to help, I agreed. She is a very nice woman. You should take as good a care of her as you possibly can. I don't think she really wanted to do this to you, but you were stubborn and wouldn't listen. Try to ride with the waves. She will test you, I know that. If you don't make her any madder, you will be out of those clothes before you know it, but if you resist her, I am positive she will have you wearing them for a long, long time. Do you think I am right?" "Yes, I know you are. I have been thinking, and maybe I'll have to go along with things as they are. From what they did at the beauty parlor, I can see she is looking at least a month for me to be wearing these clothes. They aren't bad, but the stockings are very warm and itchy. These heels are killers and breathing is impossible in this corset, and I am just starting to get used to these long fingernails." Rosa laughed and he laughed with her. He thought she was pretty nice. She had never talked to him like that before. She always kept her distance. He could see his wife's planning in everything that had happened to him. He wondered why she would do such a thing, but passed it off as her wanting to control the situation as usual. Rosa left, telling him supper would be ready in about a half hour. He wished her a pleasant evening. He set the table and checked the supper. Everything seemed done to him. He went to tell Sharon supper was ready. They ate in silence until Sharon spoke. "I hope you do a good job. I would hate to have to punish you for doing a shoddy job. When it comes to cleaning, you are my maid, not my husband, and as my maid I will treat you as such. You do look pretty in your uniform and I love your long nails. They shine like they have their own lights. How do you like your pretty uniform? It isn't as bad as I thought. The stockings are rather warm and itchy, but I am getting used to the corset and the heels. All in all, it isn't that I can't do the work, it is just that I would rather not have to do it. Well, you are going to do it, so get it into your head. If you do your best, it will be pleasant for both you and I. I do wish you would have agreed to do it when we first asked, but now that is water over the dam and we will continue as we are now. The supper ended, he cleaned up without being told. Then he went to relax and watch some television. There was nothing of interest on, so he went to play a couple of games on his computer. It wouldn't allow him access. It asked for a password. He never entered a password before and wondered what was going on. He asked Sharon and she told him she would tell him the password when she was sure he was doing a good job as a maid. Until then, he was restricted from the computer. That was a low blow to him. How could she cut him off from his computer? He decided to face her on it. How could you cut me off from my computer? It doesn't hurt you when I am on it. You could at least let me have some enjoyment. You will get it back when I see that you are doing a good job as a maid, not until. Now, what would you like to do? There isn't anything to do. You can go to the store and pick me up an evening paper. That'll give you something to do. I can't go out like this. What if people see me? They'll think you are a pretty woman. Unless you tell them, they won't think you are anything but a woman. Now go. He looked for the car keys and couldn't find them. He finally asked Sharon where they were. A maid shouldn't be driving a big car. You can walk. The walk will be good for you. It's over 2 miles to the store. I can't walk that far in these shoes. Can't I change shoes? No, you can't. Now you better get started or the store will be closed before you get there. She handed him a black patent leather box purse and told him there was money in it. He knew he had lost the argument and started out. He had to take such short steps but finally made it to the store. As he was coming up to the door, a man in a cowboy hat held the door open for him. He whispered a thank you to him and entered. He got his paper and there were several people in front of him at the checkout. He noticed the man in the cowboy hat was right behind him. The man told him if he was walking that he would give him a ride home. He whispered a thank you. After checking out, he wondered if it was such a good idea accepting a ride from a stranger. The man escorted him to his pickup truck and opened the door for him. The man got in and asked him his address. He told him. If his legs hadn't hurt so much from walking in those heels, he would never have accepted a ride. The man asked him his name and he told him it was Raquella. The man said that was a pretty name for a pretty woman. When they got there, the man insisted on taking him to the door to see that he got in safe. Sharon had seen the headlights and went to the door to see who it was. Well, I see you got a ride. You better pay the nice man for the ride. The man said no payment was necessary, then his face lit up when Sharon said at least a kiss to thank him. The man grabbed him and gave him a kiss so hard he dropped the newspaper. The man picked the paper up and handed it to him and thanked him for the kiss. Back in the house, Sharon was laughing so hard she had tears in her eyes. Raquella didn't think it was funny at all. Well, how does it feel to be kissed by a big strong man? Different. At least he wanted to kiss me. He didn't look for a kiss from you. What if I told you it was enjoyable? Sharon's manner changed. A dark look came over her face. Then she asked, "How was your walk to the store?" "It wasn't bad, but my legs sweated in these stockings and itched like mad." If you ask real nice, I can have Rosa run you a bath and we can replace those with some silky sheer lighter weight stockings, but for them to look right you will have to remove all your body hair from the neck down. That isn't too high a price to ask. I'll do it. Tomorrow, I'll have Rosa show you how to properly take a bath and we will have you in different stockings. It shouldn't be a problem. At bedtime she told him he could leave the corset on. When he asked for help getting the shoes off, she told him he would just have to wear them to bed. He couldn't get his pajamas on correctly. Sharon smiled and handed him a nylon long red nightgown. He put it on and crawled into bed. The next morning he tried to wash the makeup off. It was an exercise in futility. The makeup seemed brighter than before and his false eyelashes seemed to stick out further than before. He went and put on his uniform. When Rosa arrived, she went straight to Sharon's computer room. Sharon told her about last night, leaving out some of his remarks. You should have seen him when the man kissed him. He even dropped the paper. It was hilarious. He is complaining about the stockings being hot and itchy. That powder you put in them worked great. I told him he could wear lighter ones if he agreed to lose his body hair from the neck down. He agreed. You are sure devious. What are we going to do to him today? Well, you can have him take a bath, but first there is hair removal liquid on the counter in the bathroom. When he gets done, I want you to have him use the scented powder in the pink shaker on the counter. Then there is a bottle of rose-scented perfume there. Use it liberally and tell him he has to use it every day. That's about it. I'll get him to do it. Are you going to let him out of skirts when I return? I don't really know. I like the feel of the extra power I have over him. He does make a good-looking woman, doesn't he? Yes, he does. I was amazed at how feminine he looked after the beauty parlor visit. By the way, I can show him today everything that has to be done and give him a written list of things to do, and then I can leave tomorrow, if that is all right with you. That sounds fine with me. How is your mother doing? I talked to Dad last night and he says she is improving but is still very sick. My best goes out to you. If you need anything at all while you are down there, promise me you will just call. I promise. Thank you. Rosa went to find Raquella. She found him cleaning the living room. It was touch-up day for the living room, so she waited until he was done. Would you like to get out of those hot stockings? I'm ready to help you with a bath and change of stockings. That sounds great to me. I can't figure out why my legs are itching so much. She led him into the bathroom and unlocked his shoes and helped him get undressed. When he was completely naked, she rubbed the hair removal lotion on him. He asked what it was and she told him. While he had to wait for the lotion to do its thing, Rosa ran him a bath and poured a sweet-smelling bubble bath into it. When it was time for him to get in, he was reveling in being able to stand flat-footed and take deep breaths. He was in his tub and enjoying the bath. He couldn't remember when he enjoyed a shower or bath so much. He washed his body with the perfumed soap that Rosa had given him. He watched as she left with his uniform and wondered if she was going to get his men's clothes. When she came back with a clean uniform, he told her he was hoping she was getting his men's clothes. She asked him how he would look with the makeup on. He hadn't thought about that. He had to get out of the tub and Rosa helped him dry off. Then she powdered his body with the rose-scented body powder. He thought it was too strong a scent. Rosa laughed and took the rose perfume and sprayed him liberally. She told him he was to use the perfume every day, that was Sharon's orders. He made a face but knew he would be doing it. Rosa helped him dress, and when she had him completely dressed, she invited him to take a break before they continued their chores. I have made a list of everything I could think of for you to do when I am gone. I also wrote when it should be done. I think it will help you do the job the missus wants done. If I missed anything, shows her the list, but you know you will have to do what she wants. I know. Last night she had me walk to the grocery store to get a paper for her. It was horrible, but I did it. She told me all about it. She also told me you might have a boyfriend. Rosa said laughingly. Oh, sure. It was her idea about the kiss. The guy just acted on her suggestion. I'm sure he did. I don't think she wants to humiliate you on purpose, but she gets those funny urges and acts before thinking of what might happen. You will have to be careful not to make her angry because I think she will come on strong if she is angry. I have seen her angry and I sure don't want to make her angry on purpose. Sometimes she takes things personally, then she acts without really thinking. Well, we have to get to work. You better go clean the hairs up in the tub. They are yours so you can clean them up. He went and was surprised at how much hair there was. He cleaned the tub until it shone. Then he decided to do the whole bathroom. It would give him some time tomorrow when it was scheduled to be done. When he was done, he looked at the job he had done and smiled. It was a place of beauty. After lunch, he told Rosa he wanted to make supper. He told her he was going to make a small pork roast with sauerkraut and potatoes in the slow cooker. He told her Sharon really liked that meal. His next chore was to clean his computer room. As he cleaned, he looked longingly at his computer. He wished he could sit and play some games, but that was not possible since Sharon had password protected it. He was finishing up when Rosa came to tell him she was leaving and that he would be on his own tomorrow as she was leaving to go home by her parents. He wished her a pleasant journey and assured her he would be all right, no matter what. He told her he wanted to thank her for all of her help and instruction. She smiled, then gave him a big hug. He hugged her back. As they were eating supper, Sharon said, "This is very good. Rosa told me you made this without any help from her. I am impressed. I am also impressed with the work you are doing. Keep up the good work and things will be a lot better around here." Thank you. I am trying to do the best job possible, but it isn't always easy. A good job isn't always the easy way out. Today I had to rewrite the whole last chapter of my latest book and I am not sure that it is the right thing yet. I just can't seem to hit the right way for it to come out like I want it to. I am sure you will get it worked out. You have had that happen in the past and always made it come out. This time it is different. When I read what I have written, it just doesn't ring true. I think I have to do some rethinking on what is happening to my characters and how they react. He wondered if he should ask her to rethink her decision to put him in this uniform, then decided that now wasn't the time to do it. He left her to figure her plots out on her own. He was doing the cleanup afterward when he got an idea. He had read 3 of her books and to him it was the same story set in different times and with different endings. He went into the living room where she was. "I have an idea that might help you. Why don't you get me the last 2 chapters of your story and I'll read them and see if I can suggest something. The way I see it, you have nothing to lose and possibly something to gain." "That's a great idea. I'll go right now and print it out." A short time later she came back and handed him the printout. He took it and went to sit at the dining room table. She wondered about that as he always read things sitting in his recliner. He read it and reread it, then read it for the 3rd time. She watched him as he sat and was obviously in deep thought. Then she saw him get up and come toward her. "I can think of a couple of things here. 1. You could have Stanley being used to being alone and reveal that he had spent 3 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, or you could have Thomas go to the doctor and find out he has a terminal disease but doesn't want to share it with Teresa or Sherry. Either way, it should fit and it give you all sorts of options on which way you could go. That's great! I never thought of any of that. Thank you so much. You know you could be a writer if you wanted to. You have a good head on your shoulders and think of things that no one would expect. Try it, you might surprise yourself. I would, but there are too many people out there who readily criticize other people's writing, and I don't take criticism easy. Look at it like I do. I don't mind criticism as long as it is constructive, and besides that I have a loyal following that appreciates my work. They keep me going and writing more. Remember Stub Drummond, who wrote that stinging criticism of my second book? Well, now he is a fan of mine. I could have quit writing after the second book, but I didn't. I knew every one of my books followed a similar path, but the way the end was reached was different in every one of them. How could I write if I wanted to when I don't even have access to my computer? Touché. When Rosa comes back, you might have access to it if things work out right. I am so excited about my story now. I am going to go write some more. She left and he wondered because she never wrote in the evening. He turned on the television and watched a quiz show. At bedtime she told him she would be there in a little while, that she was at a turning point that she wanted to finish before tomorrow. He got into bed and was soon asleep. He got up early the next morning and saw her asleep next to him. He never heard her come to bed. He did the morning routine and went to have breakfast. After bacon and eggs with toast, he started to clean the bathroom. He finished it and saw it was after 10. Sharon wasn't up yet and he debated whether to wake her or not. He couldn't remember when she had slept this late ever. He made her some breakfast and took it into the bedroom and woke her. She was surprised at the tray with breakfast, but surprised him with her good mood. Thank you. This is a pleasant surprise. I got into the story so much I just had to keep going. I finished the story and today I have to proofread it before I send it to the publisher. It was after 3 this morning before I was done, but I just couldn't stop writing when everything was coming so freely. I can't thank you enough for your help last night. I used both of your suggestions and it is the first time I have had a major character die in one of my stories. This is my best book by far. He wondered if now was the time to ask her if he could return to his men's clothes, but decided to keep his mouth shut. He left and went to clean the dining room as it was today's major cleaning area. He polished the table and chairs, only stopping to start tonight's meal. He looked in a recipe book for a different dessert. He found one that called for serving it warm and knew Sharon would like it. The dining area took the rest of the day. Sharon had left for a short while and returned carrying a bag and went directly to her computer room. At supper she was complimenting him on his cooking skills, telling him she never knew he was such a good cook. He felt a sense of pride at her words. He was surprised himself but knew it was Rosa's teaching about slow cooking a meal that made a difference. Tomorrow he was going to make it a point to look in the slow cooker cookbook to see if there were any recipes that he could use. After he had cleaned up from supper, Sharon called him into the living room. From her voice he thought she sounded angry and he wondered what was wrong. You have done such a good job that I want to reward you. I thought of a number of things but couldn't decide what would be appropriate for a reward, then came up with this. She handed him a piece of paper telling him it was what she had sent to her publisher. It read, "This book is dedicated to my husband who made this story possible." He read it and smiled very wide. It was really a gift he never expected. Then she handed him a shoebox. HEW opened it and found a pair of black flats. She told him to come by her and she unlocked his heels and had him put the new shoes on. He was almost in tears when he walked around in his new shoes. This was the best gift she had ever given him as far as he could remember. She wasn't a gift giver before. Then she dropped a bombshell. I ordered some canapés and treats today to be delivered tomorrow for my literary club meeting tomorrow night. I want you to wear your lavender one with your heels. I want you to serve before the meeting starts and serve the cake I ordered after we conclude. Make note that there should be 12 people besides myself there. You can cut the cake and have it ready before we need it. Also, glasses and cups for those who want milk and decaf coffee for those who want coffee. It shouldn't be too bad for you. None of them ever saw you because you always in your computer room before. Can't you do it like you did before? I haven't raised too much objection before because it was just you, me and Rosa around here, but now you are talking a dozen people who could guess that I am a man in a dress. You are a very pretty maid. All you have to watch out for is Henry Torter, who thinks he is God's gift to women. Now, you are going to serve tomorrow night. Discussion closed. His argument was lost. He hoped he got sick before tomorrow night, but that was a long shot. He was dejected as he went to bed that night. The next day was laundry day. The items were delivered and he put them on the kitchen counter and in the refrigerator. He didn't feel like doing much today but did clean the living room because he knew it was going to be used that night. He did get the laundry done and put away. He just wasn't into it today, dreading tonight and the group coming for literary discussion. He made a light supper and Sharon told him it was a good idea inasmuch as she was going to be having something to eat later. She reminded him that he had to change right after he finished cleaning up. He took his time cleaning up. He went and changed into the lavender uniform. He brushed his hair and checked his makeup. Finally, he decided he had to make his appearance. When he got to the living room, two had already arrived. He went and got one of the trays of snacks and started to make a round. The rest arrived and he was amazed at how fast the trays were emptied. No one seemed to notice anything strange about him. He felt relieved as the meeting started. He heard Sharon read an excerpt from her latest story which hadn't been printed yet. He put pieces of cake on plates, getting ready for when the meeting was over. Then he sat and listened to the discussion of books he had never read and didn't intend on reading. Finally, the meeting was over and he took plates in and handed them out. He took a tray of glasses of milk and cups of coffee into them. He was amazed at how they descended on the food as if they hadn't eaten in a week. He returned to the kitchen. His thoughts were interrupted when he heard a voice asking why he was hiding. A pretty woman like you should be mingling with the others. You add a touch of beauty to the scene. I am just the maid, not a member of your group. I do not want to be a member of your group. Now, if you will leave me, I have work to do. The man left, walking slowly back to the living room. All that was heard in the kitchen was a big sigh of relief. Soon it was quiet, so everyone must have left. He saw Sharon walk through carrying a printout of her latest book. Sharon returned and said, "Now, that wasn't so bad, was it?" "No, I guess it wasn't, but someone came in and made a pass at me. I lucked out and he left. I saw Henry Torter came into the kitchen and he wasn't here long. You must have done something to turn him off. I told him I had work to do and he left. I also told him I did not want to be a member of your group." His jaw dropped when I said that. "Well, it is like I told you, he thinks he is God's gift to women, and if someone doesn't respond as he thinks they should, then I think he just disappears into the dust." They all seemed like vultures when there was food there. I have never seen food disappear like that. It's just that the food was excellent. Did you try any of it? No, I was too busy trying to serve it to get to try it. I see there is some cake left. Why don't you get some for me and you? He got the cake, and when he set it down for her, she asked him to sit and join her. He did, wondering what she had to say. He knew her and she had something on her mind. I want to tell you that you are doing a great job. You have surprised me in many ways. I know you would rather wear men's clothes, but I like you in your pretty uniform. Lavender suits you well. You did an excellent job this evening. I could tell everyone was impressed that I had a maid. A very efficient one at that. Well, now you have impressed them, but I don't know why you would want to impress them. All I saw is a pack of vultures. You could have just taken the food and sat in on the coffee table and let them descend on it. This was much better. There was a change when you entered the room. They liked being served, and I know they now see me as a much more successful author. That is important to me. They know you are successful. Your books are selling great, and they can tell you are doing well with your book selling. That's not the point. The point is that they see I am doing better and better. Tonight I could see every last one saw something different, and that was that I am moving ahead in my career. I still don't think you have to impress them. None of them could write a book as good as you can, and I think if they are just coming for discussion of literary works, then you should try not having any food for them. Then you would see who really wants to discuss literature. It isn't polite to not offer them something. I am going to continue what we have been doing since the group began. He could tell she was getting agitated, and he was enjoying her discomfort. When she continued, his jaw dropped. Well, it was so successful tonight, I think I need my maid for every time we meet. I told you I don't like arguments, so you can serve every time we meet. That way we will get full use out of your pretty uniforms. He decided to remain silent, knowing he wasn't going to win this one. He picked up the dirty plates and placed them in the dishwasher. It was full, so he started it. Then he went to get ready for bed. Sharon had followed him and handed him the keys to his shoes. She told him he could keep them for future use. The next morning he had a piece of leftover cake with his coffee. He sat and thought about where he was at. He thought about how he really didn't mind wearing the uniforms, as they were sexy in a way he couldn't describe. There were things he liked about this whole mess, but he would never reveal it to Sharon. He was surprised that he really didn't miss his computer as much as he thought he would. It was probably because he was busy most of the day. Today was the day he was to do the bedroom as the major room for the day. He had to wait until Sharon got up before he could start it. He emptied the dishwasher and then went and picked up in the living room. Sharon finally got up and was having her breakfast that she had gotten herself. He went to do the bedroom. He knew she usually took 2 or 3 days and sometimes up to a week to start another book. She had to formulate an outline in her mind. He was finishing the final touches in the bedroom when Sharon came in. She went to her closet and took out a black knit dress with a pleated skirt with flowers embroidered on the top. She handed it to him and said, "Go change into this. It should fit you pretty well and you'll look better in it than in your uniform." He went and changed, and when he came back out of the spare bedroom he saw she had gotten dressed in jeans and a shirt. She handed him a black purse and told him they were going shopping. "I can't go out dressed like this. I haven't said much because no one for the most part sees me like this, but going shopping you don't know who will see me. If you like we can go to the mall in Appleton. It is over 40 miles away and no one will know who we are there. Now, come along, we have some serious shopping to do." Very reluctantly he followed her to the car. She drove and later they were at the mall. The first stop was at a kiosk selling earrings. There she purchased some dangly earrings, of which she picked one pair to be put in his ears immediately. He kind of liked the feel of the earrings swinging and hitting his neck. Then it was a women's wear store. There she picked out 2 dresses that she knew would fit him. A pink one with lace trim on the upper part caught his eye. Sharon noticed that and soon one in his size was in the basket. Next came a women's clothing accessories store. There she found a lavender apron in the shape of a diamond trimmed with a lace-trimmed ruffle around the outside. She told him it would go perfectly with his lavender uniform. Then she found 2 pink heart-shaped lace-trimmed aprons for his black uniforms. Then they went for lunch. At lunch Sharon said, "If you see anything you would like, let me know. I want you to feel like you are a real maid, so if you see anything I'll get it for you. How about a new men's suit? You know what I am talking about. If you see an outfit or something that catches your eye, I want you to make sure you let me know." After lunch they went past an exquisite woman's shoe store. He saw a pair of white knee-high boots in the window. He said something to Sharon. They turned around and went in. A salesman went and got a pair of white boots in his size. He walked around on the 3-inch small heel confidently. Sharon could see by the look on his face that he liked them. She asked the salesman if they had them in black and he told her they did. She told him they would take both pair and that he would wear the pair he had on. They left the store and Sharon laughed when she noticed that he was walking more confidently now. She could see that he was very happy wearing the boots. In a delicate woman's store he found a full denim skirt with a ruffle trimmed with eyelet lace and a blouse that matched. He wore them when they left the store. Nothing else seemed to catch their eye, so they headed home. "I want to thank you for getting me all these nice clothes. I really love them." Sharon told him he was welcome, then wondered if she had created a monster in the clothing department. She wondered if he was now going to keep wearing women's clothes. She had never thought about the effects the clothes would have on him. At home he put the remaining clothes away and hung her black knit dress up very carefully. He knew she took excellent care of her clothes. That night Rosa called and told them her mother was doing better and that she had contacted her brothers and her sister and they were going to take turns to come and help her dad. She said she would be back on Monday. She didn't think she would get things in order so fast, but everything was falling into place. That night he was in the tub taking a luxurious bubble bath. He wondered why he wanted the white boots so badly and the denim outfit. He worried that he was coming to like the women's clothes too much. He wondered when Sharon would allow him to wear his men's clothes again. He thought about the fact that he was really starting to enjoy the dresses, even the maids' outfits. He wondered why he wanted to look nice in the clothes. He finally came to a major decision, and that was to wait until Sharon relented. He laughed to himself when he thought about the checkout amount of over $240 for the 2 pair of boots. He thought about how it served her right because she started this fiasco. He knew Monday when Rosa got back would be a red-letter day. Sharon would have to let him back into his men's clothes. Today was Friday, so he didn't have that long to wait. Saturday he decided to give Rosa a welcome-back gift and did the laundry that she would ordinarily do on Monday. He sang to himself as he did it. When he went to make up the bed he looked at himself closely in the full-length mirror. It wasn't a bad-looking woman he was looking at. It was someone he wouldn't mind knowing. He was feeling happy all day. He didn't really know why, but he felt things that he never felt before. Sharon had told him he could wear whatever he wanted tomorrow. She suggested his denim outfit that he liked so well. He thought that Monday she would be telling him something different. Sunday he wore the denim outfit with the white boots. When he made up the bed he stopped and twirled in front of the mirror. He loved the way his skirt billowed. He was dizzy before he stopped. At lunch Sharon said to him, "That outfit looks good on you. Those boots go with it so well." Unfortunately, those same clothes wouldn't look so good on me. Don't be so hard on yourself. If you feel good in an outfit, it will look good on you. This outfit feels good on me, so I think that good feeling carries through. You should try something new and different sometime, you might surprise yourself. That night, when he was getting ready for bed, Sharon told him to put his uniform on tomorrow, at least until Rosa gets here. He thought he would be able to wear his men's clothes tomorrow, but he thought it would only be until Rosa got there, so that wouldn't be so bad. The next morning he was dressed and waiting for Rosa to get there. Rosa arrived and went straight to Sharon's computer room. He waited for her at the table. He waited for over a half hour before she came by him. Your wife thinks it would be a good idea if you helped me get back into the swing of things. I am sorry, but you will have to help me today at least. That's all right. She has my computer password protected, so I don't know what I would do today anyhow. We might as well get to work. I'll start in the living room. He started and just was getting into it when she came and asked him why there wasn't hardly any laundry. He told her he did it Saturday as a gift to her. She thanked him and gave him a hug. She told him he could take it easy today as there wasn't a lot to do. She told him the house looked great, that he must have done a bang-up job on it. With his chest puffed out as much as the corset would allow, he finished the living room. At lunch, Sharon told him he should help Rosa this week, as how would it look with him in men's clothes and wearing makeup. He agreed that it would look odd and asked her how long before he would be able to wear men's clothes. She told him when the makeup wasn't noticeable he could go back to wearing men's clothes. She also told him that in the afternoon he could go on his computer if he promised to try writing a story. He said he didn't know what to write about, and she told him to write about what he knew from learning or experience or his dreams. She told him she would remove the password protection right after lunch. She then left and went to work on her next story. He and Rosa were still eating a bit, and he told her it looked like she would be on her own this afternoon. She told him because he was so sweet and had done the laundry, there wasn't much to do this afternoon. I see you got out of those ridiculous high heels. What happened? Sharon changed because I was doing such a good job and not giving her any grief. She acted like it was a reward, and I didn't tell her any different. Did she tell you I had to serve her literary group? Yes, I think she told me everything, including your shopping trip. Did you enjoy it? I think I did. It was different than anything I ever thought I would be doing, but it was enjoyable in a way. See, you are more feminine than you thought. You do make a good-looking woman. You should keep wearing dresses because you look better in a dress than you ever did wearing men's clothes. You make me wonder what you and Sharon plot when the two of you are talking about me. Are you plotting to continue this? No, I am just telling you how I feel. You seem to enjoy it, so why not continue to wear the dresses? Sharon told me you picked out a very feminine denim outfit when you were shopping and you wanted to buy the white boots. That was a moment of weakness. I haven't thrown out my male clothes and I figure on wearing them soon. Whatever you say. All I am saying is you can't hide the fact you make a good-looking woman, and I can tell you are enjoying it. So don't tell me you are never going to wear a dress once you start wearing men's clothes. I know better. He wondered if she wasn't right. He didn't pursue it though. He went to boot up his computer. As he was passing Sharon's computer room, she reminded him that he was going to try writing a story. The first thing he did was play a game of solitaire. He was trying to think of what he could write. He couldn't come up with anything. He decided to surf the web to see if he could find anything to help him. His search engine for fiction came up with many sites to check out. The first one he tried was Fictiontopia. He figured that dealt with fiction. How surprised when he checked that all of its stories dealt with cross-dressing in some form or another. He read 3 short stories and 2 of them he thought he could do better than that. He checked out readers' comments. This was exactly what he wanted. He exited the site and started to write. The writing came easy to him. He called his story My Wife's Maid. How was that for the truth? In 3 hours he had a short finished story partly based on his experiences. He sent it to be posted. That night at supper when Sharon asked him if he had got any writing done, he told her he had and would send her a link when his story was posted. Sharon commented that his makeup looked like it was starting to fade a bit. She told him once it started it faded quickly and that maybe in 2 days he could go back to wearing his men's clothes. That night in the tub he wondered if he really wanted to go back to his men's clothes. Life hadn't been bad while he was wearing dresses. He didn't know what to do. He knew he would never tell Sharon outright that he wanted to continue wearing dresses because he didn't know what to say to her. The next morning at breakfast Sharon told him his makeup was definitely fading. When Rosa arrived she also told him his makeup was lighter. He checked himself in the bathroom mirror when he was cleaning the bathroom and could see that it was indeed fading. He made a phone call, then asked Rosa if he could use her car for a little while, that Sharon had the keys to their car and he didn't want to bother her. Rosa agreed, and 15 minutes later he was at the Ultimate Woman beauty parlor. Madge greeted him and checked when he was in last. She told him his makeup would be free as it didn't last as long as it was supposed to. She checked his nails and told him they needed filling in. He asked if he could get a different color. She told him to tell the nail girl what he wanted and she was sure they could accommodate him. She also told him this makeup would last longer because even though the old makeup was fading, this application would fill in some very small areas that weren't filled before. He asked if he could use darker makeup and she agreed that it would look better on him. An hour and a half later he left the beauty parlor and looked at his nails. They entranced him with the shiny red glitter against the red background. They seemed to glow on their own. When he returned Rosa's keys to her she noticed the difference right away. She laughed and he blushed. "I knew you were up to something. The missus said you were going back to your men's clothes as soon as your makeup faded. I told her I didn't think it would be that simple. I thought you enjoyed wearing those clothes too much. You didn't put up any protest after the initial protest. You do look ravishing though. I see you have a different hairdo. That one really frames your face nice. Thank you." I don't know what Sharon is going to say about this. If she objects, I'll remind her she was the one who started it. That is the truth, but I don't think she is going to flip out over it. She seems to like having you as a maid. She told me your cooking is something to brag about and you are taking such good care of the house. She can see the difference with both of us working on it. She isn't going to be upset. Sharon has a mind of her own and she can be different sometimes. There are times I wonder what she is thinking. Sharon came walking into the area. "Did someone say my name? I could hear you two talking and I thought I would join you too." She looked at Robert and for a minute she didn't know what to say. Finally recovering from what she saw, she said, "You look marvelous. What made you do it? You like me in a dress, so I figured I might as well give you what you want. I'll tell you something. I was trying to think of a way to keep you in a dress, but I couldn't come up with anything that you would buy, so I thought it was useless to try to continue this any further. Now, you go and do this. Thank you so very much. Now we are going to have to go shopping again. We can go anywhere, I don't care." Spoken like a true woman. Rosa, did you really think he would do something like this? Remember I told you that you might be surprised when it came time for him to change back to men's clothes. When are we going to go shopping? That is what I want to know. Both women laughed at his question. Sharon agreed to take him shopping tomorrow. He went to check if his story was up on Fictiontopia. It was up and he had 4 readers' comments. He brought them up and read them. They ranged from sweet story to where do I find a wife like that? He sent a link to his story and comments to Sharon. That night at supper, Sharon told him she was proud of him. He had made a major decision on his own and had not asked her advice. He never thought about the fact he had always asked her before. It gave him a warm feeling to be able to say he did something on his own. The next day when they returned home from shopping, he had a dozen new dresses and enough new panties, bras and slips to make any woman jealous. He also had 7 new pairs of shoes and lots of hosiery to go with them. He now had new dangly earrings in his ears and he was feeling great. Sharon had laughed with him while they were shopping and he could not remember the last time they had had so much fun together. Sharon agreed that he could leave the corset and chastity belt off. He was at last comfortable in what he was wearing. He wrote more stories and posted them, getting good reviews for the most part. Then he got down to some serious writing. He started a historical fiction story. He always liked history and was writing about the post-Civil War period in Texas. The story went on and on. Finally, he was finished and sent it to Sharon's publisher. The publisher was thrilled with it and wanted to print it right away. Robert agreed and all was set. They emailed a picture of him in his best suit to the publisher to be put on the back flap. At supper, he got her to agree to wear the corset the next day. She didn't really want to, but he talked her into it. At lunch the next day, she told him she didn't know how a woman could wear such a restrictive garment. He reminded her that he wore it for more than a day and she didn't answer. That night she was glad when he undid the laces. She wondered how he made it wearing that for so long. At the next literary group meeting, Sharon had convinced him to read an excerpt from his book. He reluctantly agreed. When he was done reading, everyone clapped. He didn't know how to react. He went into the kitchen to get the cake ready. Henry Torter came in and told him that his reading was excellent and told him he would like to take him for supper sometime. Robert reached under his skirt and pulled out his penis and told him he just wanted to get some of that. Henry's jaw dropped and he hurried back into the living room. When Robert gave Henry a piece of cake, he said in a loud enough voice that everyone could hear, "When did you want to take me out?" "Forget it. I wouldn't go with you for anything." All the women were shocked because he had made passes at all of them and they figured he would take anyone who wore a skirt. After everyone had left, Sharon asked him what that was all about. He told her the whole story and she laughed so hard she got tears in her eyes. Finally, she told him that it was about time someone got the best of Henry and that he sure did. After 3 months of wearing a dress every day, he finally started to wear men's clothes every day except when he felt like wearing something pretty or Sharon asked him to wear a particular outfit or he had to serve for her literary group. He had learned his lesson. After that, whenever Sharon asked him to do something, if it was possible, he agreed to do it.